Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Patrick, and I am the Dean of the School of Business at Robert Morris University. And I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker today. But before I do that, I'm going to do a very quick little thing about the School of Business, just because I'm here and I'm the Dean, and you have to hear about all the wonderful things that we're doing. So the School of Business has a 96% graduation employment rate 1 year out. Woohoo, that's pretty cool. And what has helped to make this happen is that we've really realigned our curriculum with the needs of the region. We have redesigned curriculum in sales, logistics, entertainment management, wealth management, e-gaming. We're teaching a course in WWE wrestling. We have also, I'm teaching it as a matter of fact, it's so cool. We have also reworked our MSHR degree, our MBA degree, our MS taxation degree to include a lot of different certificates so that we can credential stack and people can come here and get not just one degree, but several. And on top of all of that, we hold the distinction of being one in only 5% of the business schools in the world with AACSB accreditation. Woohoo! That's really, really cool. So we're very proud. So Robert Morris is truly, truly an exciting place to be. I'm very happy to be there and very happy to be the dean. And thank you to everyone here who helps us every day. I know there's a lot of people here who help in so many different ways, so thank you for that. But the most important part of the afternoon is I get to tell you a little bit about Jackie Travisano. Her accomplishments are many. So I'm just going to highlight a few, and that'll kind of whet your appetite a little bit for some of the things to come. It's been my pleasure to know Jackie for a relatively pretty short time, but I've learned that she has led a life that serves as an inspiration for all who are willing to pay attention. Her achievements have been well chronicled through various media outlets. She recently took the mound at Marlins Park, where she threw the first pitch at the Miami Marlins baseball game, and we just found out it made it over the plate, so good for you. So that's pretty cool. See, it's a good thing. She holds a doctorate in higher education leadership from Nova Southeastern University, an MBA from Chatham University, but most importantly, a BS in administration from RMU, and she is a CPA, and we love CPAs from RMU, so that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. She began her career in Pittsburgh in 1990 at Coopers and Lybrith, which is now PwC. Before leaving Pittsburgh, she had worked to become the Associate Vice President for Finance and Administration at Chatham University, and then Vice President for Finance and Operations at Carlow University. She then moved to New York and served St. John's University as Vice President for Business Affairs and Chief Financial Officer. She later served at Nova Southeastern as Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer. Currently, she is the Executive Vice President for Business and Finance and Chief Operating Officer of the University of Miami. Sorry about that. She's responsible for UM's 3.3, let me say this clearly, $1 billion annual operating budget and $320 million in research expenditures. That is super cool. As the executive officer of the university, Dr. Travisano is directly responsible for providing operational, financial, entrepreneurial, and environmental services that enhance the academic, clinical, and research experience of faculty, students, staff, patients, and the community. She has also done in her spare time so many charitable works. And just a few accolades that she has done or has been named. She's been named one of South Florida's influential businesswomen by South Florida's Business Journal, the March of Dimes Women of Distinction, Women of the Year by the 1,000 Plus Club for Cancer Research, twice honored by the Boys and Girls Club of Broward County as one of Broward County's top 100 women So cool. And Florida's Diversity Council named her as one of Florida's most powerful and influential women. So Dr. Travisano has joined the board of directors of AutoNation, the largest automotive retailer in the United States. But most importantly, she was just recently named to a member of the RMU School of Business Board of Visitors, which we love. Come on, that's really super cool. To add to all of this, she has also created a very rich personal life filled with family and loved ones, most notably her husband, Peter, her 4 children, son-in-law, and 2 grandchildren. So this woman, as you have heard so far, is really living life to the fullest. I know we will find insight and wisdom in what we hear, so please join me in welcoming Dr. Jackie Travisano.
I'm truly honored to be the keynote speaker for this year's Women of RMU Luncheon. I want to thank Mary Gerard for inviting me, Jay Carson, my longtime friend, Barbara Howard, our terrific First Lady, and to Michelle for that wonderful introduction. I would also be remiss if I didn't introduce you and recognize the many members of my friends and family that made the trip here to be with us today, including my corner man, my best friend and my husband, PJ, our son, Peter, our uncle, Jody Preissner, our cousin, Jane Falkowski. We also have in the room one of my first bosses, Sheila Murray, the CFO of the Diocese of Greensburg, my best friend from Robert Morris University and fellow colonial at heart, Lynn Ann Nicholas. And there's also someone very special to me in the room. She doesn't know how special she is to me. We have Lynn Hayes Freeland. Lynn's mother was my accounting teacher in high school. Mrs. Hayes was the accounting professor for a long time at Alderdice High School. And she was the one who told me to come to Robert Morris University. And without Mrs. Hayes, I don't even think I'd be here today. So Lynn, God bless your mommy. It's been nearly a decade since I left the Steel City, my hometown, and the birthplace of a career that has taken me to places that I never imagined that I would go, especially as an undergrad, for you undergrad students in the room. Sometimes I ask myself, how did I get here? How on earth am I the executive vice president and chief operating officer of a top 50 research university with an annual budget of more than $3 billion? How did the girl who bleeds black and gold, who swore never ever to leave Pittsburgh, wind up in South Florida drinking Cuban cortaditos instead of eating church pierogies, and in charge of managing emergency response to tropical storms and hurricanes instead of snowstorms and blizzards? And the answer is it's just really been a wild ride, full of adventure and opportunity, and quite a few moments of holding my breath while making big decisions that transformed life, not just for me, but for my entire family. My husband, PJ, told me when we first met that anything is possible. And the truth is, he's absolutely right. Even though it's been nearly 30 years since I graduated from Robert Morris University, being here with all of you certainly has taken me back to where my journey began. It's with immense gratitude and pride that I can answer the question, how did I get here, by going back to my experience as an undergraduate accounting major at what was then known as Robert Morris College in its then owned Pittsburgh Center. I've always been a numbers person. Facts and figures are the language that I use to assess and understand the world around me. As a student at Taylor Alderdice High School, I was encouraged to pursue my love of numbers through calculus classes, the sciences, but it was truly in my accounting class with Mrs. Hayes as my teacher where I found my true calling. I really wanted to stay in Pittsburgh for numerous family reasons, and RMU was a natural fit for my education. Back in 1987, it was well known for its accounting program, and that's generally what people thought of when I mentioned where I went to school. Mrs. Hayes, in fact, had told me not to go anywhere else. While at RMU, I met my best friend, Lynn Settlemyer Nicholas, who was also a commuter student at the Pittsburgh Center downtown. We would meet every morning at 6:30 a.m. in the cafe in the basement, in part to beat the morning traffic, but mostly to chat with the other early birds and the people who worked behind the counter. These people became our friends, and although we didn't know it at the time, they helped us to develop our own sense of belonging to Robert Morris University's community. In addition to my best friend Lynn and our friends in the basement, the cafeteria, my RMU undergraduate experience included several professors who were not only great teachers, but great mentors too. Dave Hess, who's here today, taught me my accounting prowess. I'm proud to say I've gotten better, thank you. And also how to certainly pass the CPA exam through numerous must-dos. Another, Professor Larry Paper, who is also here today, taught me business law. And his class is really a foundation which I still rely on today. Another special professor was Chris Stenberg. Chris recommended me for CPA for a Day. It was a program at Coopers & Lybrand, which at the time was one of the big 6 accounting firms in the nation, and it was located in the Steel Building downtown. That opportunity at CPA for a Day opened the door to a full-time job at C&L, and I was fortunate to join a high-performing team of professionals working on higher education audit engagements. So there I was, if you can picture, not even able to drink, not even legal, sitting across from senior leaders of the University of Pittsburgh, some of them still there. And that's the moment that I decided that I really wanted to be in higher education, but on the other side of the desk. I just love the energy of being on a college campus, surrounded by thought leaders and bright and optimistic students who have the drive and the ability to change the world. So I set a goal that one day I too would be a senior leader at a college or a university. My first major step on this journey was at Chatham University, where I was hired as its first assistant VP for finance and administration. I spent 6 years there, working alongside a very talented team of administrators and faculty members to foster its sustainability and success. It's still here, so I think we did a good job. While I was working to improve Chatham's financial foothold, I was also working to improve myself. I took on as many new and challenging responsibilities as I could, but I also knew that to get to the next level, I would need more education, so I earned my master's degree at Chatham while working full-time. This internal drive, some describe it as just good old Pittsburgh grit, opened the door to a vice president's role at Carlow University, working for the late Sister Grace Ann Geibel, who I just adored and who continued to serve as a mentor to me after I left Pittsburgh, and in fact until she passed away. I learned a very important lesson during that frenetic time of my life. If you want to have it all, a marriage, a steady steep climb up a steep ladder, and children who all have very important demanding needs, you will require help. You receive no extra credit in life for biting off more than you can chew. And when you don't give yourself permission to be human, it's often the people you love that suffer the most. You simply cannot give your best to others without being good to yourself. I went from accountant to associate vice president to vice president in the first 14 years of my career by setting age-appropriate goals, reaching them, and setting new ones, even if it meant having to reframe what I thought our life would look like. The next 14 years of my career took me from Pittsburgh to New York to South Florida in a determined quest to broaden my responsibilities, strengthen my leadership experience, and take the necessary steps to advance to CFO and then to COO. Each move meant uprooting my family, settling into a new home, and beginning anew in building a new network of colleagues and friends. Lucky for me, I have the best and most wonderful husband in the world. For me, setting and resetting goals has been the key to taking my career and life in a progressive and increasingly fulfilling direction. I emphasize the word resetting because time and experience reshapes what one wants out of life. I always encourage people to be open to gaining new skills and deepening confidence in their abilities. I've seen too many high-capable people pigeonhole themselves into a singular role because that was the sole goal that they set and they had achieved it. They forget to consider going even higher. It wasn't until I moved to South Florida to accept the Executive Vice President and COO position at Nova Southeastern University that I realized why I have this insatiable drive to advance my career to even higher levels. With each new position came more touch points through which I could have an impact. Having the opportunity as COO to more broadly shape the institution's strategy and culture was so very satisfying to me. And now that I'm at the University of Miami, I have the chance to enrich the day-to-day experiences of 16,000 students, 15,000 employees across 3 main campuses, and multiple satellite locations, including a medical school and a major healthcare enterprise. And that's truly frightening and delightful at the same time. It's certainly the most satisfying role that I've had yet, and it's all because I didn't settle into one goal once it was achieved. Instead, I paused and assessed what I wanted to do next. In many ways, our alma mater, Robert Morris, has charted its own set and reset course, leading to an exponential growth over the last 30 years. When I graduated in 1990, Robert Morris College was a regional, commuter-based, primarily business school with the vast majority of its student population coming from Western Pennsylvania. Now, as RMU approaches its centennial, it attracts students from 48 states, 39 nations, and since 1990, the residential student population has more than doubled. The curriculum has grown in leaps and bounds, expanding from 4 associate's degrees and 15 bachelor's in 1990 to the 41 bachelor's, 17 master's, and 3 doctoral programs currently available to its students today. Robert Morris College, or university as you know it now, had a really strong foothold in a niche category, but it took extraordinary courage and ambition to reset its goals going forward. Its visionary leaders took on the arduous work not only to design and redesign strategies for progress, but perhaps even more challenging, to secure buy-in from all the stakeholders who may have derailed its efforts. Their persistence led to the Robert Morris University we all know and appreciate today, and is so vital to the Pittsburgh region and to us. As alumni, we are the stakeholders who can help RMU continue to set and reset its goals. Universities provide life-changing experiences for students, but they cannot do it without the support of their alumni and through philanthropy. All of us together in this room are evidence that RMU has remained an important part of our past, present, and future. And before I conclude, I thought I would tell you 2 stories, 2 personal stories. The first is a story from 2011. My family and I were living in New York, and we commuted back to Pittsburgh often. One weekend, while driving home to Pittsburgh, I saw an ad in the Chronicle of Higher Education for an executive vice president and COO position at Nova Southeastern University. I briefly mentioned it to my husband, who was driving, and I told him that it sounded like a great job, but they were likely looking for a heavy hitter. My husband nearly stopped the car on the Pennsylvania Turnpike and screamed at me, and he doesn't scream, "You're a heavy hitter." So he was right. I am a heavy hitter. And my hope for all of you in the room, especially our undergraduate students that are here, my hope is that you find someone who can tell you that you are a heavy hitter at times when you might forget. The other story I thought I would tell you is one from January of 2018, more recent. My birthday is January 30th. This came on about my birthday. It was a letter. It was from a professor of mine, and it reads, I received it in my office in Miami. Dear Dr. Travisano, Dr. Jacqueline Travisano, is this the little girl who used to be in my class at Robert Morris University as Jackie Meyerowitz? Dr. Jacqueline Travisano, Executive Vice President for Business and Finance, is this the little Jackie Meyerowitz who went to Disneyland in Florida and brought me back a Mickey Mouse cap, which I still have? Dr. Jacqueline Travisano, Chief Operating Officer at the University of Miami, is this the little Jackie Meyerowitz who went out of her way to help me on my campaign for City Council? If so, Jackie, I and all of your Robert Morris community are so proud of you for your accomplishments. You are proof that dreams and possibilities are endless when you believe in yourself. Congratulations, your success has brightened my life too. With sincere best wishes, your old professor, Larry Paper. And so that, my friends, is why I will always be a colonial. I love Robert Morris. I wish you so much continued success in your ambition to keep making it better. Thank you for having me here today. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Mary. It was wonderful to be with you. Thank you.